In the short period of time I have remaining, let me just revisit with you some of the questions we talked about yesterday with regard to free exercise of religion. And of course, that's recognized explicitly under the United States Constitution, the First Amendment, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Are you familiar with the cases that have been litigated before the Supreme Court of the United States involving the Little Sisters of the Poor with regard to the Affordable Care Act mandate on contraception coverage?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the Little Sisters of the Poor are a benevolent group of nuns. I think there are about 300 of them that take care of elderly and infirm individuals. And of course, as a matter of their religious beliefs, as documented in the court's opinions, they don't believe in either contraception or abortion. Do you agree with that?
I believe that was described in the case that you're talking about.
I think that's right, too.
Yes.
Yeah. And so when the Affordable Care Act mandated that every health insurance policy contain coverage for contraception or chemically induced abortions, they objected and said that this violated their conscience and their free exercise of religion rights under the First Amendment, right?
I believe so, yes.
Well, after the Obama administration, during the Trump administration expanded the regulations to allow not only churches, but also religious organizations like the Little Sisters of the Poor, a waiver from that contraception and an abortion-inducing drug mandate. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Are you familiar with the fact that President Biden has said he would restore the previous regulation and that was promulgated under the Obama administration and exclude organizations like the Little Sisters of the Poor from that waiver potential for abortion drugs or contraception coverage?
I am not aware of that, Senator.
Okay. Well, I guess what all this boils down to, Congress passed a bill called the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, which tried to make sure that people's sincerely held religious beliefs could be accommodated under their First Amendment rights, as opposed to Congress mandating things that would violate their conscience and violate their religious beliefs. Do you agree with me that it's important to accommodate the sincerely held religious beliefs of all Americans when it comes to legislation that the Congress may pass?
Thank you, Senator. Religious freedom is a core foundational constitutional right. It's in the First Amendment of the Constitution and reflects the Founding Fathers' understanding of this country as being one that is based on, in large part, the idea of pluralism, the idea that people can come and have sincerely held religious beliefs and practice them without persecution. That's part of the foundation of our government and the amendment that you're discussing. And as a result, that right is protected in many ways. You mentioned the Religious Freedom Restoration Act.
Right.
Congress has enacted a statute that, when it comes to federal regulation, if there's a substantial burden placed on religion, then the strict scrutiny standard applies.
I agree. I have 1 minute, so I have one more
Yes.
question. I agree with what you just said.
Yes.
So since I have asked this question or made this point of some of your predecessors who sat in the same chair and expressed my concern about some of the court's establishment law, establishment jurisprudence, I don't want to leave you out of that concern. When I was Attorney General of Texas, I had a chance to argue a case in front of the United States Supreme Court and called it Santa Fe Independent School District versus Doe. This was a lawsuit brought by the ACLU, which sought to enjoin or prevent a student-led prayer before football games at the Santa Fe Independent School District right outside of Houston. In the end, 5 judges said that that violated the Establishment Clause of the Constitution, causing Chief Justice Rehnquist to write in his dissent that the Constitution mandates neutrality toward religion, not hostility, but that the court's decision evidenced hostility towards religious expression, leaving me to conclude that the public square, we can talk about everything from violence to misogyny to sex, you name it, but we can't talk about sincerely held religious beliefs. I would just footnote that for you and plant the seed for what it's worth. Thank you very much.